side, let's go. Let's go, let's move. Side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move. Side to side, let's go. Come on, everybody, bring it in.
Hello everyone and welcome to the stream. My name is Daniel Livingstone and today we are going to be testing out Aperty for the first time. Aperty is an AI-based retouching software provided by Skylum Software, and I am one of their affiliates, ambassadors, and proud announcement, I am going to be at WPPI this year in about 2 weeks in Las Vegas. Come say hi to me at the Skylum booth. We will be showing off Luminar and Aperty. You can meet me. I'll give you a walkthrough of the programs. But I just wanted to give you guys a first look at Aperty to get everyone on the same page about what it is, how it works, and explain from a retouching standpoint its benefits. So I am doing a fresh launch on Aperty. This is the first thing you see when you download it for the first time. Very, very simple UI to start. It says drag and drop folders or create a project. I'm going to create a project because I don't know exactly what I'm going to work on yet. And we're just going to call this headshot test. So let's do that. We are in a project now, and now we can drag and drop photos or folders. So I'm going to go into my photography, and I'm going to grab a recent project. Not this one. Actually, I think this is 2023. Here we go. Alright, so this is the folder I want to work on. So let's just drop this in here. And ready to explore. We could do the brief tour. Let's just run through this pretty quickly. Alright, key editing tools. Discovering essential... Oh, I don't even have my screen up. Hold on. There we go. Sorry. Now we're in Aperty. Key editing tools. Discover essential tools for quick adjustments, along with creative effects, retouching, and reshaping. Alright, so our key editing tools are these 5 options here. That's our masking tool. We have a presets tab. Retouching presets is an interesting concept. Erase and clone and dodge and burn. This is to navigate back to our projects. And our undo button. Copy and paste. Settings and more. Help and resources. Okay, that was a pretty... Oh, and then our image settings are at the top here, so it tells me, you know, I shot this with ISO 100, 50mm lens, f2.8, 1/125th of a second. Alright. And I can like or reject images. So we can use this to make our selects, I see. And these are all raw images. Alright, where do we even start? Okay, so we have a develop module. Oh, this is like everything. Okay, so this is really no different than like camera raw processor. So they get a external profile. These are all Canon's things, I believe. And then there's the Aperty processing. So what's the difference between Adobe and Aperty's? Aperty is a little more contrast, a little more warm. I'm assuming this is for skin tones. I actually do like Aperty's default profile too. It does add a nice rich color to the skin tone. So we get our standard sliders here: temperature, tint, exposure, contrast, highlights, whites, blacks. We got a curves tab, vibrant saturation, remove color cast is interesting. I don't know exactly what this is doing. Alright, let me see if I can white balance this and warm it up a little bit. I think we're gonna go 6500 on that. Tint could probably skew a little more green. We're definitely gonna need to lift the exposure on this, so I'm a little under. And I have a histogram here to keep me in check. Shadows don't need to be lifted, but I do want to pump some contrast in. Maybe even black point down a tad. Just to kind of try to keep more of that contrast in there. The whites, I'll pull down a little bit. Shadows can be about there. The highlight slider is pretty tame actually. It's not making any crazy adjustments. So I do like how subtle the highlight recovery is. This is feeling better so far. If I'm familiar with Luminar's UI, this is our before and after. It seems like we lost a little bit of depth in those highlights. Bring back some of the whites too. Definitely took the cool magenta tones out of the face here as well. Maybe we'll do a 0.5 exposure. Oh, that's just our off and on. Okay, cool. So we got the HSL sliders, we got a black and white option, which is kind of cool. I'm going to collapse that for now. Sharpening. Curious how the sharpening is in this program. Oh, it's very subtle. I really like that. Wait, this is great. That brought back so much detail. This is a really effective sharpening tool, wow. Structure, which is like even more like a really heavy-handed clarity. Noise reduction, I don't think we need to deal with because we're at ISO 100, so we're gonna have the least amount of noise possible. But that details tab is really nice. Oh wait, no, that wasn't what I was in. I was in sharpening. Details is a different tab. So let's take off sharpening and see what the details are. Small details, medium details, and large details. This large details kind of feels like a structure or like really heavy-handed clarity tab. I'm assuming small details is more like a texture one. And then there's details protection and preserve textures. In a very technical sense, I can't necessarily, I'm assuming this is like heavier contrast points and then like lighter contrast points for like more mid-tone contrast in the smaller details. But I'm not going to touch it for now because I do like what just the sharpening tool did. That looks really good. Let me tune in on mobile, see how we're doing. The music's a little loud. Turn that down. Alright. Back to Aperty. So this is our develop panel, or our essentials panel. It's very straightforward. This is something we're used to. Now to get into the retouch tab, it can scan people in our scene, and I can retouch all the people in our scene simultaneously, which is kind of cool. blemish removal. So we're going to wait for that to apply, and it's on a slider. I only see maybe 1, 2 blemishes. Freckles removal, and then details. So what if we max that out? That's the best way to learn these things, just kind of go full on. Oh. Okay. This is like an opacity slider almost at this point. Those changes will subtly come away. Okay, so it is detecting some of this as blemish detail. It's grabbing this highlight on the nose, as long as this shadow on the nose. And then it is detecting this as a blemish, which I believe is accurate. And then this along with the ridges of the forehead, which I would actually agree with. I think that is definitely what I would be retouching out in an image. And then a before and after that tool. Just did kind of a subtle blemish removal. So now face skin smoothing is a different tab in this. I'm gonna apply that. So let's turn blemish removal off. Keep the skin smoothing on. It is actually doing a really good job of removing, or like dodging and burning those details away. It really got this here, which I'm impressed with. So I maxed out both of these. Are we just like cooking? Or are we just going like way too all in on this? The forehead is considerably smoothed. We got rid of this, which is impressive. Alright, so this I did a rim light with a colored light, so I'm curious if face skin color correction is going to work really well here. It is taking away some of that green. It's making this very magenta though, so I don't know how the color correction is working when it comes to different skin tones. It is removing that. It is evening this. I think it's actually just reading off of this. Yeah, I think it's just reading off of the skin tone on the majority of the face, and then matching this to that. So if this is looking magenta, it's probably because this is looking magenta, which means this needs a little more work to be brought back. And then dark circles removal. It seems like it's evening out underneath the eyes, especially over here too. We got a little bit of that. Yeah, I did a good job blending. That's probably how I would, similarly to how I would blend it myself. Alright, face brighten. This interests me. Yep, just a mask on the face. Shine removal. Let's see. There is a lot of shine going on, and that's because of my lighting. That actually did a very good job flattening the face out. Obviously we're pushing it a little far, but even like a little bit of highlight reduction on the face is pretty useful. Face brighten's kind of nice. Drawing that attention back to the face is pretty cool. Alright, we have a lot of options in here. So we have a teeth whitening, teeth brightening. So that's all the way. Dial that down a little bit. Pretty subtle. You see it's touching the tongue as well. If I max out teeth whitening, it's still leaving a little bit of yellow tint in there, which I actually really like. I think it's natural to have a bit of warmth in the teeth. So even at the highest setting, I think that's a really good result. And those teeth are just shiny with that brightening. I like that. Same thing, eye whitening, eye enhancement. These are two things that I'm always doing in Photoshop manually with my masks. So let's zoom in here. It is grabbing the whites really well. And then eye enhancement is kind of just lifting the shadows in the iris. It's not really pumping the whites of the eyes, which I think is like a common mistake that people do, is they make the whites overly bright and then it starts to look unnatural. So it's definitely helping those eyes glow. And then redness removal. I wonder if that's like red eye fixing. Iris flare. Is that just doing the thing where it adds a underlight? Yes. Except it's actually clipping here on the mask. So I don't know if... it may just not be accurately masking out the bottom of the eyes. Yeah, it's not grabbing the bottom of this iris. But we can change the color of his eyes anything we want, almost. And then this iris flare, if this masked properly, would add just a bright underlight, or a under catch light to the eye. Mint eyes is interesting. I think that's more of a creative tool than like a technical tool. Like in retouching, you're not typically being requested to change people's eye colors. However, if you wanted to do a creative project where you wanted the subject to have green eyes and they didn't, and if it fit the palette of the project a lot better, I could see that being really practical. Alright, makeup. We're not going to do makeup on this just because it's a male subject. Well, actually, let's see. What kind of makeup are we talking about? Are we talking about like foundation? Blush? Oh, we're talking about, okay, because this is cheeks. Cheeks and nose. So we can just add blush to our subject if we really wanted to. And this is where blush blindness really comes into play. So this is a cooler tone blush, this is a warmer tone blush. We can dial that down. Just add a little like life into the cheeks, which is kind of cool. Width, height, we can change where it appears. So if I dial this way back, I can move these things around. Alright, contour. Let's see what contouring does to our subject. I'm gonna max it out. Oh, didn't mean to do that. So this adds shadow by the cheeks near the jawline and then the bridge of the nose. And we can feather that out. I mean, definitely adds shape. Highlights. Oh, I'm assuming, yeah, highlighter by the cheeks. Eyeliner. Alright, this is weird. I'm gonna save these tools for a female subject. We can change the lips though. And eyebrow enhancement. I'm assuming that just makes them, yeah, darker fills in the contrast. So for very like patchy eyebrows or thin eyebrows, that can really help. Lips, bring some life into the lips. Tone, darkening. Alright, body skin smoothing. Very curious about this. Let's just close everything that we've already used too. Which is the last thing. Oh, this effect is only available for all. Okay. Is it grabbing the arms? Applying body skin. It would just have to detect these arms. I'm not really seeing a difference here. Oh, there it is. It's a very subtle difference. Like if I zoom way in, you can see here it does smooth out some of those blemishes. Now if we dial this back, kick details up, Yeah, it's a little smoother. It's pretty subtle. It's like a really fine dodge and burn for our subject's arms. I'm assuming it's usually going to be arms if we're doing like headshot stuff. Alright, what do we have here? Reshape, creative. I thought some of these tools were already creative, so light source settings, light control. Interesting. What does this do? Oh, it's just loading a little slow. Oh, so we can add, oh, I can add many light sources. Interesting. So I can add a fill light on the right side of him. It seems like it'd be hitting a lot of this shoulder, but if I can move this around, I can do an underlight if I wanted to. I can add a colored light if I wanted to. That's kind of neat. So if I wanted like more orange light like underneath, like I was kind of doing before, just pump up a ton of orange here. And we get extra orange light on our subject. Or if I wanted to match the orange light on the other side of the face, turn the depth down. Now we get some extra orange light on this side of the face. Cool. This is the scene. So this is overall, okay, smoothness of the light, of the brightness. Interesting. Portrait bokeh. I'm assuming this is gonna blur the background out considerably. So I'm assuming this thought bubble here is it detecting the edges and masking out the subject. So for something like this where I do have the background included but I don't necessarily want to see it, this is practical. I can change the brightness of the background to get more separation. There's no highlights to glow. I can change the warmth or coolness of the background. Depth correction, edges correction. LUT, we're not going to apply a LUT. We get a film grain option, which is pretty cool. So, okay, it can show, it's showing me the mask that it's created, and I can add more or less to that. So if I want to include him, and then here the hair is kind of blending in with the background. If I want to include some more of the hair, some more of the hair here. And then defocus a little bit of this edge and clean up this edge a tad. So I'm still getting the controls to adjust how I want, but it is doing a decent amount of the work for me. So I want to clean up that ear, that ear. Cool. Alright, let's save that. And then bring up our brightness of the background. And down. Film grain, let's get close and inspect the film grain here. That gets pretty heavy-handed. I will admit the film grain. Maybe this is not the best example, but the film grain does feel a little digital, especially at like a low size. It's very, I mean, at 0, it's like that's just straight up digital blocky noise. So I think you'd have to go pretty high with the size of the grain if you were wanting to sell it to be realistic. A medium amount of grain with a high size feels pretty good. And then like a low roughness. Yeah, the roughness makes it just feel kind of blocky again. Low roughness is the move here. We can do a vignette. The high key look. Okay, so a lot of these settings are kind of being pulled from Aperty. Sorry, from Luminar. This is all looking familiar now. So we have our high key look, which I think is kind of a cool tool, where it desaturates things and makes them brighter in a very like cold tone, a neutral way. So honestly, I think this is a great way for like neutralizing skin if you want to just pull all the extra color cast out. Yeah, so if I'm going for like a really edgy look, high key would be the move. And that seems to be the last creative one. Okay, so I pulled a handful of tools from Luminar, but not all of them. So there's some presets here. We got some color presets. Retouching presets. Alright, let's try a different subject. Let's do something a little more brightly lit. Let's do this one. We can play with some of the makeup tools too. I'm gonna check out one of these retouching presets. Let's do the red lips preset. Oh, it added a lot of stuff too. There's like a whole color toning thing going on right now. We'll do soft. This one's taking a while. I'm assuming it's using a lot of tools at the moment. I wonder if there's like a hardware acceleration option. Oh, this is soft? Or is it still processing? Very matted. Let's see. Natural radiance. Let's see what that's all about. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it added a very warm tone to the image, a little bit of matting. Let's see if there's any skin retouching. I do see some like reduction in blemishes, which is pretty cool, especially on the chin here. That smooths out the shadows quite well. Definitely lifts some of that under eye, but in a very tasteful way. Let's reset that. And let's do a little bit of manual retouching. So for the face skin, I liked dark circles removal. That was kind of cool. That's like a little too much. We do want to keep the original shape of the eyes. That's pretty subtle. Face skin color correction is still interesting to me. Ah, I see what it's doing now. It's very subtle, but it is taking a little bit of green out and making it more magenta. It seems like this face skin color correction tool leans magenta. So I don't think I need this, especially because the skin tone isn't even where I want it right now. Skin smoothing, let's just take that up. The smoothing is nice. There's another, oh, skin blemish. Yeah, blemish removal. Okay, so that really targets the chin in a good way, and then that blemish at the top of her forehead really well. Honestly, this seems like the main tool in this program. This seems like the big deal here. And I'm going to test this out with a couple other images. Also, let's jump into those teeth tools. Where'd they go? Mouth. Teeth whitening. Even if I max it out, still a really natural looking result. I'm impressed. The teeth are actually a little too bright in this, so I'm not going to do brightening. And I think that would be an interesting feature if they let it go in the opposite direction, where like sometimes when I shoot subjects and their teeth are already very, very bright and white naturally in real life, and I'm lighting them with a strobe, those are going to reflect that light, and they are way too overexposed because they're just a direct reflection of my key light. So there are some times where with a subject, especially in a headshot scenario, I'm actually taking the teeth brightness down a little bit. So I'd be curious to see if they had any way or any interest in adding that as a feature. And then the eyes, let's see if this masks out the eyes a little better. It caught one eye and not so much the other eye. Yeah, it seems like this tool is only working on the one eye. But the redness probably works on both. Oh, were the original eyes green? It seems like something's going on over here. Is that iris flare? Or is that redness removal? Oh, so it's detecting some of these eyelashes as redness because there's such a little amount of data here. The whitening does a little bit of desaturation on its own. So I think redness removal, not a tool I would use super often, but the eye whitening is a 2-in-1 where it does this and as well, it also does what this should be doing. So I think this consolidated to one tool is probably going to be eye whitening for me. And then eye enhancement, which I believe is like, yeah, making those irises more contrasty. Maybe not the greatest example because the eyes are so small, it's having a hard time detecting those. Let's see what we can do with some makeup. Eyeliner. Test that out. Oh, you can make it like a color. That's kind of cool. Unfortunately, in this example, it kind of goes over the hair. What does glow do? I have no clue. And it looks like on this one, it's also going over the eye itself. So maybe the program's not accounting for like tilted heads, or just this is a bad example image-wise because the eye data is so small, so the masking is not great. It's kind of cool though. It's cool that it matches the shape of the eyes though. I'm impressed with that, being able to follow this shape here. Eyebrow enhancement. This seems like a one where that could work. Yeah, just to pull back some of that eyebrow. Maybe not make them look too thick, but just a little extra contrast doesn't hurt. Yeah, just filling in these gaps here is nice. Saturation of the lips. This is working very well for this. And I can even change the tone from warm to oh, that's like real deep. Oh, darkening really helps as a slider though. Lets me balance it to feel natural. Now one thing I wish is that there are a lot of tools in this makeup tab. I wish I could control these individually, because if I have all 5 on at once and I'm looking to see my before and after of one area, like the lips, I don't want to necessarily see the skin smoothing as well if I'm just focusing on the lips. And as someone who does not do makeup, I'm not the most equipped to be working with these. I don't know how to do makeup. I don't know what good makeup is. So I'm going to try to stay subtle with these. Really light touch-ups on this. Just a little bit of oomph in the lips. Yeah. Alright, let's close makeup. There's a bit more body skin in this one, so I'm curious to see what that does. We'll just let that... Oh, it didn't even need to load, it just did it. I forgot how subtle this one was. Oh yeah, this is on a very micro level. So I want no detail. Okay, so this is detail preservation. So this will include more details and protect those. Makes it more of like a broad dodge and burn. This makes it a very fine dodge and burn where it's removing all contrast from the areas. Let's look at these arms. I mean, for general like smoothing between tone of like here to this highlight to this shadow, pretty good job. And keep in mind we're once again pushing these to like the max setting. So rarely are you going to be using it at 100. It did a good job blending out these veins on the hands, though. It did a really good job over here on this hand. Alright, so let's say I keep these settings, and I'm pushing my retouching smoothness, like, really far. I'm actually going to go back to the face, too, and then do, like, more heavy-handed blemish, and then even more skin smoothing. So this is going to be, like, pretty soft. There is still some detail, though. You can see the texture here in the cheek that it's preserved, which I think is pretty good for like a face AI face smoothing thing. Sometimes it'll just get rid of all this. It also kept the texture on the nose, which is cool, and then the texture on the forehead and T-zone I think helps sell that as like a realistic result. So when it comes to like retouching, I feel like a really important part is hair. And flyaways especially. I feel like we're all spending way too much time adjusting flyaways or correcting flyaways, so it would be nice to see like a hair option pop up in this software at some point. I'm gonna look at the reshaping tab. I'm not gonna do anything crazy here. Just want to see what our options are. So there's a face slimming feature. And it's probably doing some really complex masking and also liquefy like meshing, so let's see. Interesting the way it moves in at the top first, and then as you go farther, more on the bottom. So it starts here with the smooth or the thinning, and then slowly moves downward the more that you apply. Eyes shape. I'm curious what this could mean. Oh, just making him larger or smaller. I could see this being like a very indirect way of like helping out with like opening up eyes, like if people are squinting. Eyebrow arch. Let's try some of these effects on a different subject. Yeah, let's try it on this. I just need to apply some contrast to this real quick. And then some vibrance. I'm gonna be the first to admit, I don't think these images were exposed the best. I don't think my lighting was fully on point. But this feels like a good opportunity to do the face light. Yeah. And then back in my adjustments, I'll probably go to like a 5 tint. And I really like the teeth and eyes stuff. The teeth whitening is pretty cool. I don't need to make it brighter. I don't know if there's opportunity for iris flare. Eye whitening and eye enhancement. Not doing a lot here, pretty squinted. And then let's see these like reshape tools. Eyebrow arch. Oh, so you can like kind of give someone the smize if you really wanted to, or just like change their expression a little bit. Oh. I like that this kind of works opposite to the direction you're putting the eyebrows, because that is like how that works with your musculature, if that's a word. Eyebrow position, higher or lower. We can get really cartoony with it if we wanted some like villain eyebrows. Eyebrows distance, you can pull them together, separate them. I think it's interesting the way it's moving other stuff around it though and pulling things. Like it really feels like you're pulling it with muscle where everything's interconnected. Nose bridge shape. Oh, it's just like the top of the, okay. Nose tip shape. So you can point that up or down a little bit. Do like a micro adjustment. Making like a smaller button nose effect. And then X and Y, just pulling it to the side, pulling it up and down, left, right. You can really point someone's face in a different direction with this tool. Do we run out of music? No, we're almost there though. I'll just go back to the beginning. Skip these ads. Lips position. Oh wow, interesting. It's so cool to see their mask because I can see the exact line, but it's pulling like faster in some places and slower in other places to make it really feel like there's strings attached to everything. Upper lip shape, we can make it thinner or thicker. Lower lip shape, thinner. Oh, so not the lip itself, but just below it, like pulling on the mouth. Oh, and then that comes in at the sides and tucks that in. That's kind of cool. Body shape. Just thinner or larger. Thinner may not be super applicable on fitness models like this. I mean, yeah, it's pulling in like right in the middle without respect to like body position or posture. And then, oh, well, that works surprisingly well, despite the fact that arms are folded over it, so it's pulling in. You'd probably need like an open subject, which I'm surprised it works that way because a lot of like crossed arms is such a typical like headshot pose. Like this one might be an interesting example. Let's try that abdomen thing. Oh, we can copy our edits. Did I copy them? Oh, paste. Paste. Alright, so this image is very different. Did it bring over our skin smooth? Oh, we didn't do any on him, did we? Let's take the face light down a little bit. Blemish right here. So I'm thinking this, a little bit of this, and that. Definitely picked up on this and this. Didn't pick up on this so much, which I'm surprised about. We push it even further. Oh, it even dampened the highlight on the nose, thinking that was like a protrusion. So interesting, it grabbed this blemish, but not this one, so it didn't smooth that out. It's really fascinating to see how these things work, especially from like a technical standpoint. Body skin smoothing. There we go. This is a tad cleaner. Let's see. That reshape. We'll try the stomach thing again, the abdomen thing. Seems like it's not really detecting it, but I think that's because this is a very dark image with not a lot of like information going on. So I'm gonna move away from this project. If I click this, okay, there's my project. So it shows me, let's do a new project. Let's call it Daniel. I'll work on an image of myself. Where would an image of myself be? Let that drive spin up. What's the runtime on this so far? Oh, 48 minutes. Okay, not bad. We can easily clear an hour here. I don't think this needs to be like way longer than like an hour. As soon as this drive decides to respond, there we go. Yeah, let's give that a shot. Get in there. Alright, so let's take it from the very top. There's Adobe Standard, but the Aperty default one is kind of nice. It pumps a little extra contrast in there, which I appreciate. We're going to take down the black point, pump the contrast. I'm going to try to neutralize this image a little bit. Let's do like 6,000. Oops, 6,000, not 60,000. I don't know why I have a... Oh, there we go. This one will have a lot more face data. And just dynamic range in general. Definitely gonna need some vibrance on this shot. This is crunchy. Was it always like that? A very detailed image. Wow, we got a lot of data to work with. Alright, curious what remove color cast means. Seems to remove all the warmth, but the warmth is what I want on this, so still not really digging this slider specifically. Love that sharpen though. Oh, that's what I was gonna do. Okay, so in my skin blemishes, I'm just going to jack this up because I like the way that works. Alright, so it's grabbing this, which I would do as a retoucher. Grabbed all that at the top, which I think is good too. And then the chin. Like this little uneven patch here. It actually does a good job like smoothing out patchiness in facial hair. Okay, cool. Freckles removal, I'm assuming it means like this. Yeah. Interesting that it's not grabbing this or that. What if we don't low detail? And then skin smoothing, we added a layer of that on top. It smoothed out the skin by the facial hair for sure. Face skin color correction. Is this gonna be like similar to the other like remove color cast one? $42.50, it's almost 50-50. Let's turn these off and then just see what this is doing. Oh, it's taking a lot of the yellow out. See, it seems like these color correction tools are leaning very magenta, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think a little bit of like, I mean, the magenta makes sense because you want like blood and life in the skin tone, but like I feel like a yellow is always better than a blue. Like you do not want like cool toned skin. Face brightness kind of, I mean, from a technical standpoint, I think this works really well. I'm gonna say this tool is great if you don't have good lighting. Like if you're shooting an event and your subjects are not lit well, or you're like limited by the ambient light, that's gonna really help your shot a lot. If you're in the studio setting, or if you're like setting up lights, you're probably lighting the face properly. But I do love me some shine removal. Turn that off, turn that off, turn that off, turn that off. And then what's the shine hitting? It seems like it's not detecting any shine here, which is interesting. I mean, I see shine. Maybe the highlights are just so subtle. Yeah, because there's no before and after for this. Okay, that's fine. So, oh, the dark circle removal. This one's big for me because I have crazy dark circles under my eyes. And that's something yeah, that's what I like to see. I'm a 75, which is pretty heavy, honestly. I mean, I got really bad dark circles under my eyes, so this is a fantastic tool to just bring some of that life back. Put some joy in my shot. Yeah, I do like the way that works a lot. I do want to tab down to, so that's enough with face skin blemishing I like. Okay, so blemish removal, I love this, good slider. Dark circles remover, I like this, good slider. Skin smoothing, I'm not a big skin smoothing guy. I think it's acceptable, but excuse me. If we're doing skin smoothing and getting pretty heavy with it, I think what you'll have to do to make it to like really sell it is going back to sharpen and then putting some sharpening back on there. I think sharpening brings back texture in the skin, even if it's artificial, that makes it feel real. Let's see what we've done so far. Yeah, this is good. This is doing a pretty solid job of retouching this. Ooh, background. That's in the creative, right? Portrait bokeh, yeah. Let me like cool down that background, make it more gray toned. Yes. Okay. This is letting us see our mask a little better though, so it is like haloing around the hair a little bit. We can do edges correction. And what is that doing? That's doing the opposite direction of what we want. I feel like we can't push the brightness too far with that, although I still see this. Like, it's really obvious. Like, by default, maybe we just don't need to change the, or is it amount? Okay, maybe the amount needs to just get changed a little bit. Yeah, amount needs to go down. It's the bokeh aspect of it that's really messing with this. So if I do 1 just to enable it. Okay. So I don't think it makes sense to have amount enable all these other settings. because I just want to make the background darker, but I don't want to blur it. But if I kick up that amount slider, it's really going to mess with the edge of my mask here. So I think this and these should probably be somewhat separate functionality. But I'm going to set this to 1 to enable these settings. This is just my own personal hack to make this work. Because if I want to adjust the background color, like let's say warmth and brightness, let's say I don't even want to just brightness, I just want to make the background cooler in a more like gray neutral tone. Bam, done. And that feels a lot better. Now I can go back to develop and I can make the overall temperature a little warmer. Maybe like a 6300. That skin tone is getting to a place that I want. And another one of my favorite tools so far, eyes. Okay, let's just play with this. I feel like this is a lot better. It seems like the right eye is always getting kind of cut off at the bottom a little bit. So I wanted like very saturated green eyes. I mean, the iris flare is cool. This feels a little lizardy though. Gray feels saturated. Blue feels really saturated. Hazel feels a little more natural. Honey and mint. Brown eyes obviously is a natural color. It feels the most natural. I'm gonna turn iris flare on a little bit. Now if I turn off that and keep the iris flare on, that just adds a underlight to my existing eyes. I think that's really pretty. I think that does a good job of enhancing. Even if I do it to like match all around, I think that helps my eyes pop out a lot more. Yeah. Still trying to figure out how this redness removal feature works. Oh, the redness removal removes, whatever those are called, arteries in the eyes, veins in the eyes. What's that called? I need to look this up. Okay, but like, what are those called? Like the blood vessels. Yeah, the vessels. Yeah, it's for blood vessels. Got it. That's why it was detecting eyelashes, because it's looking for really thin lines of contrast. Okay, so we can pump this a little bit and smooth out. It's kind of just smoothing out the whites of your eyes. It is a subtle tool though. It took me a while to figure out how that was working. Eye whitening. It actually neutralizes that pretty well. And then eye enhancement. Oh, that just sharpens them. Okay, cool. That is useful. I do have clients that are always asking for like eye sharpening. So that's good to know. I want to push. I need to go back to the dark circles removal. I need to put that a little farther. That is really feeling really dark over there. Mouth, teeth whitening. Need that. Need that real bad. Push that even farther. Brightening. So this is a scenario because we were shooting. God, my camera's really yellow. Hold on. Let me fix that white balance. Doing all kinds of corrections today. This is a situation where I kind of need this to go past its limit because I need these teeth to be even less yellow. So they could really push the intensity of this up a tad. Brightening. The brightening is actually pumping a little extra like contrast in it, which is pumping saturation into it, which we don't want. So the brightening is going to stay down. Okay, so I'm looking into there's no body scan in this, so I don't have to worry about that. That's how I would do this for myself, and we can see it before and after. I'll zoom into the face. That under eye stuff is great though. I do like the under eye removal a lot. And it was cool that we could neutralize the background through some like creative use of the bokeh tool. Alright, so I'm looking at masking. Okay, so let's say I didn't want to do this bokeh portrait method, but I wanted to create a mask of the background and neutralize that manually. Okay, I can add stuff, subtract stuff. Cool, cool. Fill, clear, invert, duplicate and invert, which is useful. Rename and delete. Okay, so let's say I did want to rename this just to background. Go to our Essentials tab on this background layer. Now I can neutralize that. Maybe take down the exposure a little bit too. Oh, I can even white balance off of that. Nice! Okay, so if I really wanted to just automatically make my background gray, I would just click the white balance tool. And then I can toggle that on and off, I'm assuming, yeah. Just a little blue. So that's like if I wanted a neutral gray backdrop. Yeah, that's feeling gray. Alright, so this is what we're getting with, I'll do the slider. That one's really fun, before and after. I mean, the skin smoothing is working really well. Man, that really evened the redness on my face. I didn't even see it until now. And I'm okay with pushing the smoothing kind of far, because the sharpening tools in this are really nice too. So I'm digging the sharpening a lot. Close our masks panel, turn that toggle off. I can't think there's anything else I would do to this. These are the sharpened settings that I'm pretty comfortable with as well. We can do some reshaping stuff. I'm just curious what this would do. Alright, eyes shape makes them bigger, right? Yeah. So I can open up my eyes a little bit with this. I would not push this very far, otherwise you get into really uncanny valley territory. Yeah, the eyes being bigger thing I'm not really into. Not for my kind of taste. Eyebrow arch. Oh, because that's just pulled my whole eye with it. That's like really pulling on that. Position. So I can raise my eyebrows a little bit, and then double raise them with this tool in conjunction. That's funny. I love the middle part going up too. It's hilarious. Let's take this back a little bit. So you can bring a little bit of life back into the eyes if you're not already raising your eyebrows a little bit. My eyebrows are a little too thick for this tool though. Nose bridge. So that's pulling my nose out a little bit. That's pulling it in. Up a little width, and then the tip shape. Pushing that down, pushing that up. Maybe I want to push it down a little bit. Push it up a little bit. Yeah, just like the tiniest bit of lift kind of has a dramatic effect. Push that sideways, push that sideways. So that's good if your subject's nose is a little crooked, or if they're tilted just slightly off center, and you can bring that back to the middle. That's kind of cool. Mouth stuff, lips. Let's see, can my lips use a boost? That's just the position. I don't need to change the position. My mouth's where it's supposed to be. Interesting that it pushes the facial hair. My top lip is looking a little thin, so I'm going to pump that up a little bit. Oh, and all it's doing is moving the lip itself, or like just above the lip. Alright, cool. So this is our main before and after here. Pretty quick retouching solutions. I think I need to put myself... This is why I might be a little critical. I am a professional retoucher, and I've been doing this for a long time, so I have very specific ways of doing stuff at like the highest level. This retouching software may not be for the professional retoucher or the retouching house. This is probably meant for the average photographer who is shooting first, learning to edit later. So if you don't know how to do frequency separation in Photoshop off the bat, if you don't know how to do like very specific like Lightroom masking for teeth and blemish stuff, I see this being really useful. This is definitely providing some very quick solutions for people who don't even want to learn how to retouch. This is just giving you the tools to play with a slider and give you a result that you want. I don't need to make layers for stuff. I don't need to mask things. I don't even need to use my tablet or my stylus tool to do any like precise painting. This is just doing a lot of those things for me really quickly. So I do appreciate that kind of use case. I mean, like, even like masking out the background, having a single button to do that instead of me having to do like select by color or select by subject or like inverting that or using a pen tool, God forbid. I do appreciate the efficiency of it. I'm gonna give this light control thing a test. Let's do a fill light on my right side. I'm curious how this is detecting. Okay. So it is... Oh, did not mean to include that. It is detecting the dimensions of my face. Okay, if I go under... Well, actually, not underneath. Underneath, it should be casting shadows. Up top, I guess I play with depth. I don't want to do that stuff. This tool is much more useful and very... See, up here it's great. On the, like, here to here, it's working exactly how it should. Here, it's good, and then anything below here in the center, it's not really hitting right. But if I want to add a little bit of extra fill light on the right side, that's not bad. It's adding fill on the side of the face that I want and kind of matching the ridges and the dimensions. And then if I want it to be a color, I guess, if I wanted to do like a fun little like blue rim light, I think this is meant for the color aspect specifically. If I want to add like a rim over here on the hair, bring back some of the depth. But yeah, like more depth works better on this if it can hit more stuff. But like, yeah, just drop like a rim light on the hair or on the side of the face. Like a little tint. I mean, this would be if I did have a light there and it was way too powerful, that's what it would look like. But if I do a subtle little touch of purple up here, or like a touch of purple on this side, pump up some of that saturation, just add like a fun little color somewhere. Oh! What is this? And why is it... Oh, what the heck? Oh, cool. I can add, speckled lighting. Now we're talking. This is cool now. Okay, I'm starting to get this. So we're gonna punch the depth all the way through. Yes, this is kind of neat. I'm seeing the vision. This seems like something you'd need max depth for, though, to really make it work. Oh, okay. Oh. See, I want the opposite of this. I think it'd be cool to add shadows. How's this one working? It is cool to see it warp across my body and the textures, though. Oh, I see the Monstera. Okay. I see it. I see the vision. Okay, there's the Monstera. Then we move it around on the canvas. This is a little more interesting. The shutter lighting, which is cool. And now I get to see a lot more clearly how this is detecting. But yeah, definitely, once again, something you really have to push the depth for. Tree shadow. Vintage windows. I can see that being, oops. Strips, dots. I can see this having some cool applications. It obviously need to be used in a more creative setting instead of just my standard boring headshot. Well, now I'm curious, water drops. Oh, speckled water. Now this is useful. A water texture is something that's really hard to recreate in post. But this is done very well. Yes, yes, this is... Doing water like this can be really hard. I guess I was lucky that I was already on blue. But yes, this kind of deal with the water... Not the easiest shape to fake in post. That feels underwater. I can get with this. Wait, what if I did water drops and then... What'd I do? Oh, there you go. Water reflection's even better. Kind of feels like fire in this instance. Or if we warp it, that's fun. It's like a little skewy thing. That's neat. I mean, that feels like water, though. And it's wrapping very interestingly. Water strips. Water dot. The strips and dots thing is kind of cool. Dots I like more than strips. Like, this is kind of just a cool effect. It'd if I could mask this, that would be great. Like, if I could... I guess you do have to... Well... If I could mask this, like just the face or just the shirt, I think this would be a very practical tool for some really creative effects. Still don't know really what the purpose of this is. That was fun though. That was really cool to jump into. I did not expect to find that tab in there. Film grain. Still really rough. I like a very soft, sensitive film grain. So high size, high amount, low roughness. That is the best it's looked. This is a believable amount of film grain. I like that. The high key look, I'm always a fan of. See, I like that. I like these kinds of looks with that like desaturated skin tone. This has a very specific application of like doing these like really neutral looking shots. I've always been a fan. Glow. I can't imagine glow is gonna come into effect a ton in like portraiture. Just another general. Oh, this is for the high key though. Okay, I see. This would come into play if you're doing high key. And then even if I want to do a high key and then still pump a little bit of like skin tone in there. Color. Pump some more vibrance in. There you go. Now you got high key look with a little bit of like still some vibrant skin tone. Yeah, I'm rocking with this. I want to use this as the thumbnail, but I feel like I just used this as the thumbnail on the last stream, didn't I? Yeah, this is literally the thumbnail for my last stream. Whatever. Okay. I feel like we've very thoroughly explored this program. Let me test out some presets. How do I reset this entire revert to original? Alright, let's do some presets. Let's do flawless skin. This is really taking a while to process. And I can't tell if that's the software or my computer, and it could be a combination of both. Alright, we're there. Before and after. I do like that, it's actually quite subtle. Alright, let's convert that to the original. Let's try natural radiance. I can't really tell the difference between that and the previous one. Golden Veil seems to have a lot more color stuff applied to it. This this one just has like a little color toning filter too. Well, this image was already red to begin with, so it might be just not the right preset for this image. This one's got that like purple shadow look applied to it. It's a little flat. Tangerine Glow is just too red for me. That's the original. Oh, there's a male makeup option. Just made everything really gray. It did fix the skin really nice though. I just don't know if the color toning is like widely applicable enough to be like a retouch. Creative, retro. Oh, film. Love me some film looks. Crisp 200, port side 400. That's supposed to be like portrait. Extra glow. Golden hour. Oh, see, I like the way they're doing film grain on these presets though. They have that dialed in. I like the haze one. That's kind of cool. So what's your film grain settings? Low amount, relatively low size, and relatively low roughness. Yeah, it's at low roughness. Or the low size really that determines how much, like how good it looks. Let's see what the black and whites are. This one's fun. I like this one. Moody depth. Faded elegance. Warm grain. Retro fade. See, that retro fade is a red one, but I do like this one more than the other one we did. Basic enhancement. Oh wait, I think that too many things on. Basic enhancement. I don't know where this magenta purple color is coming from. They pump on purple in this. Okay, and then we can save some. Yeah, if I right click any of these and I like them, I can save them to favorites. That's kind of cool. Alright, let me close my tab. Oh, I can flip my image if I want. Is that it? Sort, film strip. Oh, we didn't really get into cloning and dodging and burning. Oh, it's just like the eraser, so that's like... Oh, so if I want to manually remove a blemish... This is the clone stamp tool, and this is erase. And this is dodge and burn. Oh, okay, cool. Dodge, burn, erase, get rid of either of those. It still feels really heavy-handed. You need to do like really low strength to make this kick in the way it should. Like if I actually wanted to dodge and burn this properly, I would come in under the eyes and lift that very subtly. Still not, I don't even know if I'm doing a great job because I'm not really, there's like a limited amount of settings for a good dodge and burn. And I have a hard time seeing the value in that when we have the this wonderful dark circles removal tool. Fantastic. I love it. Okay, cool. So, we're coming to the end of this. I think I have a good grasp on the software now. I know what I like and what I don't like about it. So let's just do like a text edit notepad thing. Alright. Best features. Aperty. Best features. Can everyone see this? Might need something bigger. Let's go to create a new Google Doc. Alright. Aperty. Best features. Number 1. Dark circle by circle removal. That's pretty fire. Number 2, blemish removal. That one works really well. Number 3, I'm excited for shine removal. I don't know if it's fully there yet because I see shine here and it's not hitting it. But it should detect at least this nose highlight and this forehead highlight as shine. That has potential, but we're gonna wait on that. Sharpening. I like the sharpening that's in this Essentials tab. This works really well. Face Brighten's cool. I think it has really great practical effects. The color correction stuff I'm still not on board with because it seems like it just defaults to making things magenta. I don't know if I agree with that for a variety of skin tones. What else is in here? Light control is cool. Specifically the water and the dots. I like the water and the dots a lot. Oh, I do like high key. Okay, we gotta do some honorable mentions. Cool tools. High key. I'm gonna do light control again, just because it's cool. Like these, I like because they just work really well. These 3 specifically. Face Brighten, I like it as a concept, so I'm gonna make that a cool tool. I don't think I spelled that right. There we go. Film grain I like. I think the eyebrow changes are neat because it lets you kind of really pull better expressions out of people who aren't giving it to you. I'm gonna take this out. I'm gonna say skin smoothing. I think in order these are like the, well, I'm just gonna take this down to 4. These are the best 4 features in this program. These work the best, they work as intended, and they're very useful. These are cool things to kind of just take your work in a different direction that you normally wouldn't. And these are things that would require a lot of work in like Photoshop or another manual editing software to be able to pull off. But they make it really easy. So I think like these are the convenient tools. These let you do cool stuff really fast and easy. These are things that just work really well. I'm impressed by this. The sun is setting and it's getting dark out and I am setting. So I think this is gonna wrap up my first looks at Aperty. I'm gonna turn this on for the outro. Oh, this got unplugged. No, it didn't. So this is going to wrap up my first look at Aperty. I think this is a really neat software. For people who don't have a retouching background, I really see the value in this. This allows you to do a handful of things very quickly. I would say these tools are really great for doing things fast that if you don't have a background editing, you probably just won't be able to do it all. Point blank, most people do not have the skill and the ability to do these things well. So this just gives you so much access and power and agency over your edits. These are very practical. These are great tools that everyone can use, whether you know how to do it or not. Like dark circle eye removal, I know how to do that really well manually in Photoshop. I don't like doing it every single time manually. It's kind of a delicate thing. This makes this really fast and works on this. Like the quality of output for this tool and my own manual ability is pretty even, which I think is saying a lot. Blemish removal works surprisingly well compared to other skin retouching tools I've seen and used, because it doesn't make the skin look fake. It actually targets noticeable areas of contrast that probably don't belong there. I'm always a sucker for good sharpening. I think that, you know, every software has their own way of doing sharpening. This one's just effective. It preserves detail. It doesn't make it crunchy. It just detects details, pulls them out well. And then skin smoothing is kind of like I think just like a lower tier version of blemish removal. Not to say that it's bad, but I would go here before I go here, but I wouldn't mind just going here on its own too. The only thing is that if I'm just using skin smoothing, I need to probably do some sharpening as well. So, gotta use those hand in hand, but blemish removal on its own, standalone, fantastic. So, this is my initial reactions to the software. I think that there are some areas that they can definitely improve in, but where it's at right now, a pretty useful tool for most photographers who do portraits and are looking for software alternatives. But that wraps things up for today. The thumbnail's already been made. I've been making a lot more of my thumbnails in advance. But this is where I will leave you all, so I want to thank you all for joining me, for bearing with me on this first look. If you think the software is really interesting, you can try it for a 7-day free trial using the link in the description of the stream. If you want to support the stream in other ways, there's a series of other affiliate links as well in the description. But it was great being able to preview this with you all. And as always, my name is Daniel Livingstone, and you all be sure to do something creative today. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.